Is he gonna kill himself? I bet he's gonna die. And I ain't gonna like it. Because I like him. He's a good guy. He's a little chubby, a little overweight. It's okay. Nothing wrong with some hamburgers. There is no tomorrow. The best way I can describe this game is when you've been craving a good burger all day. And finally get off of work, you got a little extra time, you go to your favorite restaurant, you order your favorite burger, you get it, and you start eating it, and it's delicious. It's everything you would hope for in a burger. And halfway through, you see that big ball of fucking hair right beneath the pickles in between the tomatoes, and it just ruins the whole fucking meal for you. I'm gonna break this storyline down to the best of my abilities, but it's convoluted, it's confusing, and I don't really know if I understand it myself. But to begin with, you meet the main protagonist, Leon. Leon is just your average, everyday 14-year-old boy trying to make it through high school, kicking it with his buddy Gary, trying to meet some girls maybe. I don't know, maybe he's into Gary and that's his thing. You know, I'm not one to judge. But for all intents and purposes, he's just your normal, everyday kid. He did at one point steal his cop mother's handgun and shoot his stepfather. But that's kind of something that we go through. I mean, if you didn't know, American teenagers, that's a normal thing. If you're not from the States, you might not get that. But that's something we've all done once or twice in our lives. So, one day in class, Leon falls asleep, more like passes out, but he becomes suddenly unconscious. And when he awakes, he's in this weird hellscape of his school 100 years into the future. Now, what has happened is an alien race was worried that their planet was going to be destroyed because one of the members of their race predicted it in a dream. So, they find a machine built by another alien race that they don't know who actually built it. They repair that machine, they hop into the fucker, they start it up, and it merges the two planets together and it destroys both Alien World and Earth World. When the worlds merge together, all the humans kind of die. It's not fully explained. And the alien race, who were once good people, slowly begin to mutate because they lose their memories and become bad people and turn into evil, raw alien things. The storyline doesn't really make sense, but I'm slowly I'm breaking down the layers like an onion. Shortly into entering this hell world, you find a doll head, a doll body, you mix them together, sew it up, cut a mouth open, and you get introduced to the character Doll. Doll has many different layers. The first layer is when you originally meet Doll. Doll wants to help you get back to the past for whatever reason. They don't fucking tell you why. They just say, hey, just trust me, I'm a doll, I talk, let's go back to the fucking past. Later on, you find out that Doll has done so much fucking more. Firstly, Doll is the one who caused this whole fucking shit show. They had a dream that the world was going to be destroyed, their world, Alien World. So they told the other aliens. Aliens were like, hey, let's fucking do something about it, activate the machine, fuck shit up, destroyed both worlds. But also, Doll went back in time and got you and brought you to this present. But that's not all Doll did. There's a whole slew of fuckery about that Doll has either caused or started or did themselves. And it'll be explained a little farther in the review, so just hang on. We'll have to move on to the next character you meet, Kelly, who really has nothing to do with the story, but just kind of elaborates more on Doll's weird superpowers. Kelly is actually one of your classmates who is also in the future with you. Now, you might be thinking that Kelly might have also fallen asleep around the same time you did, like it's the Langolier kind of storyline where everyone falls asleep, they all get put into the past or the future, but that's not it. Not fucking close. Doll actually goes into the past and gets your classmates and brings them to the future to assist you on your journey to find a way to get from the future back to the past. See, it's starting to get a little fucky here. Starting to get a little convoluted. It's gonna get worse. Trust me, it's gonna get so much worse. For the most part, Kelly really has no purpose at all. You get to do a little like mini puzzle thing where you have to sneak around some monsters and put out a fire. She tells you that, oh, we gotta find our other classmates. Big surprise, you get there, classmates are dead because you know what, you're fucking 14-year-old kids. Doll went back in the past, got children to help you somehow fight hell future world. And it didn't work, and the children fucking die. Big surprise. Get a cop, get a marine, anyone besides a child. Get guns, get whatever. These children are worthless. They're not gonna fucking help you. Kelly dies. You don't need that story point. It's worthless. Let's move on to Sarah. Sarah is where, ooh, shit gets fucking weird with Sarah. So, excuse me, pardon me. Sarah might seem like another 14-year-old classmate. She is. Doll went back and got Sarah from the past, but didn't bring her 100 years into the future, brought her like 98 years into the future, so she can help you progress. Now, it might sound like it's the same as the other kids, like Kelly and fuckwads. I can't even remember the other two kids she brought forward because they're dead. But Sarah is actually an alien. What Doll did was go back into the past 114 years, planted a seed that became a human-alien hybrid. And that human-alien hybrid was supposed to grow up with you, so she would be old enough that Doll could go back in the past and bring her to the future so she could help you get back to the past so you could fully meet her, and then you could go to the in-between the past and the future to find the machine to unmerge the two worlds. I don't really get it all, but there's a whole lot of fuckery to it. And at some point in your past, you have met Sarah before. When you were a kid, Sarah, the alien, weird human hybrid thing, Sarah's adopted father had a son, and that son was arrested by your cop mother. Maybe arrested, maybe killed, I can't really remember. But the adopted father is angry, so he wants to fuck your shit up. And he sees you in the park, he's like, I'm gonna punch a child. This is before you're 14, you're like 9. He's like, I'm gonna fuck this kid up. And Sarah's like, nah, don't do that shit. She jumps in, stops the fight. Later on, because of this, she decides to become a cop, whatever reasons. And it gets more complicated later, because when you finally go through this whole weird timeline thing to get Sarah out of the past that you met in the future so you could get to the middle to activate the machine to unmerge the worlds, when you finally make it back to your correct time zone, Sarah is, for some reason, 10 years older than you, or it's not really defined, some years older than you, and she has become a cop because of your mom influenced her, I think? And there's another character we'll meet here in a little bit called Tiger, who really doesn't need to be in the game at all. He's kind of around, but you could have just taken him out. He also somehow gets to the past with you and tries to confront you because he's mad at you, but then he just shoots himself. And Sarah is there, and she needs to say, like, oh, why were you here? Why was he trying to kill you? It's because I've met you before, because you can also see the future in your dreams. And she's like, oh shit, yeah, I remember you when I was a kid, but I'm older than you now, what the fuck? Yeah, that's the ending. They hang out at a beach together, and then there's an earthquake. I'm sorry, it's fucking weird. Doesn't make sense. I'm trying to give you the TLDR, other weird shit happens, but that's the gist of everything. I don't like that. Shit, okay, nothing's happening yet. Oh, shit. Oh, fucking! Call! Get him! Oh, fuck. We gotta sidestep him. Oh, God, the combat shit! Combat's so bad! I've only got my 2 of my arrow left. You know how in a lot of horror games, like really good horror games, like your Resident Evils, your Silent Hills, your Amnesias, shit like that, you gotta get used to the controls. They're kind of weird on this 2D kind of plane where you move, stop, turn, shoot, stuff like that. This game is the opposite. The controls are very kind of slippery and very fluent, and you get used to them very quickly, but then you realize as you go on, it just doesn't work. Your camera will bounce off of objects. And if you don't understand what I mean by that, your camera is kind of like the old N64 style where it's over the shoulder all the time. So if you move too close to a wall, it hits the wall. It's like you got, what was it called? The Tanuki? I might be wrong on the name of that shit, but I think it was called like Tanuki or something. He's always flying over your shoulder with a camera. Imagine he's there. He hits the walls, he'll hit a desk, he'll hit everything. So you have to learn to be worse at the controls. You have to learn how to angle your camera in bad ways so that you can actually see stuff. With combat, it's the same way, where you have to get the enemies almost into like a glitched position, and then you hit them and you just keep beating on them to death. Because once you start hitting them, they get glitched. You can just beat them to death after that. But getting that first hit on them is what's actually challenging. And honestly, for the most part, you're not going to engage enemies in a one-on-one combat. You're just going to sneak up on them. It kind of imitates the idea of The Last of Us, where you have the sound system, where you can either go in and attack the enemy straight, head on, one-on-one, mano-a-mano, or you can sneak up on them, maybe throw a rock or something to distract them, and then sneak up behind them and do extra damage. Honestly, you can do that in this game. You can throw items, you can throw trash cans, and you can throw, there was a few other things in the game, but I never did it because it's always so easy to sneak up on your enemies. Once you get the hang of it, you're just going to run, and you can press E to listen. I believe it was E to listen. And then it shows you where all the enemies are, and you can just sneak around and kill all of them. And enemies won't hear the other enemies dying. So you can just beat on them, they die, move on to the next one, they die, move on to the next one, they die. That's going to be your basic mode of attack for the whole game. And it's not terrible, but it does get pretty fucking boring. Running around, spamming E. Even when you get to the point where you find enemies that have guns, when you start fighting humans, they're always in a situation where you can either kill them really easily with a crossbow, because honestly the guns fucking suck. Use the taser, use the crossbow, that's it. Don't use fucking anything else. The guns are just so fucking hit or miss. So you can either kill them really easily with a crossbow, or you can sneak attack all of them. There's also a kick mechanic where you can like kick them off an edge, and there's also a whistle mechanic which is supposed to distract people, but I used it a lot in the game. I whistled right next to enemies, far away from enemies, and I could never get the whistle to do fucking anything. I thought it was literally to call birds to you, and that didn't even do anything when I was standing right next to a crow, so fuck it, I don't know. I just Googled it too. It's Lakitu, not Tanuki. Tanuki's a raccoon, Lakitu's the cameraman. Shut the fuck up. Don't comment on it. Fuck off. Anyways, so the level design is pretty linear. There's a lot of kind of side areas you can explore, but they don't seem to ever lead to anything. You can explore them. There might be a couple items. There's also pages you can find, but I didn't really bother to find them. I only grabbed them when I kind of came across them. But for the most part, I mean, the level design's really good. The Hellscape School looks really good. There's a few times where you're outside. That looks really good. It's like a sandstorm kind of area. That looks nice. There's a few other areas, like you're in tunnels, you're in kind of a cave system. It all looks really good. I mean, I don't have any complaints with the level design. Having a game that's linear doesn't really make it bad. When you try to incorporate like a stealth combat versus head-on combat, linear is not usually the way to go, because, you can kind of plan out everything you're going to do. You want to kind of have more of a broad open area, so that way, I can't sneak on this one because I have to do this one. And I do recall maybe 2 areas in the game where it was an open area with a lot of enemies, but you could run past all the enemies and then just do what you had to do, and maybe throw like a Molotov behind you and kill them, or just ignore them completely and just run past them, because the enemies, when they run up on you, they will stop, then swing, and then move on. Most of the enemies are the same. There's only maybe 3 different kinds of enemies, aside from humans, which are different variations of the same thing. Guys with guns, fuck it, whatever. But for the aliens, there's basically like 3 variations. There's the normal guys that run at you, stop, and swing at you. There's a bigger guy that runs at you, stops, swings at you. And then there's like a poison one that kind of stops and swings at you, but if you shoot him in the stomach, then they'll kind of explode and do a poison gas. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. When they do it, you just die instantly, which is bullshit. There is one other type of alien monster that you only encounter at one point in the game. And what they do is they will stop, hit you, and when they hit you, it'll push you forward without doing damage, and then they swing for damage. So if you're always moving forward, it just pushes you farther forward. So, the level design's alright, but when it comes to the combat, you can ignore most of the enemies, which I'm not going to nitpick on too much, because if you want to run from enemies, it kind of makes sense in a hellscape. You don't want to fight everything, you want to run from some shit because you're in hell. You're not going to fight fucking everything. That's fine. But variations on the enemies, not too many, you don't need it, whatever, fuck it, move on. But the biggest part of the level design, or the game design in general, not so much the level design, is the puzzles And oh my god, these puzzles, I'll just let myself describe it to you from the live reaction. I went from being like this. See, this is a puzzle. This is like a real puzzle. This is not an annoying puzzle. This is a puzzle where there's like a lot going on, and I'm interested in figuring it out, except to being like this later on in the game. What the fuck? You need to memorize which switches are on. A memory puzzle at the end of the fucking game? The puzzle started off so well. They were so well designed. There wasn't a whole lot of them, but they had cool concepts. But the first one was really fun. You had to figure out like the patterns and how the sequence went. Second one was you had to rotate the object to try to figure out how the puzzle worked. And then every puzzle after that became progressively worse. You went on to the next one, which was just finding levers to pull. Actually, sorry. Scratch that. The next one was actually, you had to knock down a piece of rock to decide how you should pull these levers. And then I think the one after that was when you just had to pull levers down. There was another one where you just had to memorize something that was really simple. There was a puzzle where you just had to rearrange these slates to kind of make a pattern, and it was just all really boring. The first couple puzzles had so much ingenuity and so much creativity, and then it just progressively got worse after that. And it was disappointing because I had so much faith in this developer, and he did such a good, or she, I don't fucking know, did such a good job on the first couple of puzzles that after playing for I think 8 hours or 9 hours it took me to finish the game, it felt so disappointing when I got to the end of the game, and the final puzzle was just, oh, memorize this light that lit up. And it wasn't a difficult like Simon Says type of shit. It just showed 8 orbs, they lit up. It showed 2 that light up, and then you click those 2. Then it will show 3 that light up, you click those 3. Then it will show 4 that light up, you click those 4. And that's it. That's the whole puzzle. And it was just, I was just sad. It's the best way I can put it. A taser? Why are you giving me a taser? Like, you need the taser. I don't need the taser. Like, I got these. I can throw these things. You need the taser. Oh, well, okay, never mind. She's too scared to use it. Wait, they're not my friends? Kelly, where are you? Where'd Kelly go? Okay, Kelly, you gotta focus, all right? You gotta follow me. We gotta be sneaky. Oh, what's that? I kind of want that. Kelly, don't fuck this up, Kelly. I need this metal pipe, this fruit, and this trash can. Should I try to hit Kelly now? Kelly, where are you going? No, Kelly. Kelly, what the fuck are you? Kelly? I'm too scared to tase a monster. Kelly don't give a fuck. So the game performed well in the sense that there was no crashes. I didn't run into anything that seemed too crazy. Everything ran fine. It looked good. There wasn't too many clipping, but holy fuck for the bugs in this game. And I actually talked with the developer about the bugs and mentioned a few things in a review on Steam. And I'm not going to point out or talk about all the things that are going on screen because you can see them. There was plenty of times where I'd fall through a wall, shoot a gun, and then an enemy would suddenly appear where the gun was that I had killed previously. I would roll through items, enemies would move through items. That shit I'm going to ignore. I'm going to explain the ones that aren't on video. Several times throughout the game, you would open your inventory, and if you open your inventory too close to like a wall or a desk or something, you weren't able to click on anything in your inventory. There was plenty of times where if I was crouched and I was like walking underneath something, like say I was crouching through a tunnelway and I hit the crouch button again, it would lock me in the crouch position. I couldn't stand up again. Same thing would happen if I was balancing on a beam and I would open my inventory, I'd be stuck in the T pose. Let's see what are some of the other ones. There was times where I wasn't able to open my inventory at all. There was times where I could open my inventory but couldn't click on anything. I could move the mouse around. Sometimes I couldn't move the mouse around at all. There are items in the game that you can pick up that don't have any description to them. And I think that might have only happened once or twice, and I think it was always with taser ammo. I think it happened with one other item, but I can't remember what it was. But I think it was just the taser ammo doesn't have a description to it. Pretty sure there's only one time in the game where you pick up taser ammo. I can't really recall. There are a few other times where enemies will path weird. Like, instead of coming directly at you where they'll walk around a corner, they'll actually cut through corners. So let's say you put like a trap down, like a bear trap that's in the game that I never really mentioned through this thing. You put a bear trap down, they can cut right through the corner and just skip the whole thing. There are a lot of bugs, but I feel like these could be ironed out in future updates, and I really hope the developer will kind of stick it to it. I don't know how a game with so much promise can just turn out like such absolute shit. I don't know how every puzzle in the game can go from being amazing to absolute garbage. I don't understand how a story so well written can turn to absolute fucking every part of it just got so bad. Now, I don't mean to say the game was shit completely, but when you start off at such a fucking high note, and it's all so great, you just gotta keep it going for the rest of the game. But I truly believe that this game can be fixed, it can be tweaked, and it can be a classic. If you like my review, if you don't like it, fuck it, give me your money. Also, Gary fucking dies. I was right. At the very beginning, he jumps out the window, you have a chance to save him. I fucked it up. Gary dove to his death. I didn't like him anyways.